It is time to talk about the world of cars, one of my favorite times of the week. And of course, it's with our very dear friend and genius when it comes to the world of cars. Of course, it is Spike Ballantyne.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too.
How is it going here at Bulls?
Fantastic. It's
Good,
awesome.
good,
It's
good.
just fantastic.
Good.
Now listen, we're going to talk about a car here which we'll start off with the cream of this little
The pick of the
segment.
bunch, the top of the range.
The top of the range, which is called a Mercedes-Benz. Well, no, they don't use the Benz anymore. Mercedes-Benz AMG GT,
Correct.
which is like a smaller version of the SLS.
Well, yeah, I suppose the best way to describe what it is if you look at a Lamborghini Aventador and then you look at the Lamborghini Huracan.
Yes.
It's the same kind of idea. So the SLS is the big daddy. That's the 6.5 liter or whatever it is.
Yes.
400 and so or whatever kilowatt supercar. And then the GT is now the kind of step down. It's the more entry level version, if you like. It is still, however, similar to the SLS in a lot of ways. It's designed and built by AMG. So it's not a Mercedes product that's then been kind of adjusted and tuned by AMG. It is an AMG product. It's all new. It's got things like an aluminium chassis that weighs 200 kilograms. The whole car only weighs 1,540 kilograms.
Amazing.
So it's a brand new motor. It's a twin-turbo V8 linked to a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. And I really hope the 7-speed dual-cluch gearbox is an improvement over the ones that Mercedes-Benz are using at the moment.
Yes, please.
Please, let it be that way.
Yes.
It's got... There are two versions. There's a GT and there's a GTS. They have the same motor but different power outputs. So the GT has got 340 kilowatts, GTS 375 kilowatts.
Very nice.
3.8 second 0 to 100 time for that GTS, which is impressively fast. A lot of similarities between the cars. They've got a lot of aerodynamics that play a role to help balance the car at speed, also help with cooling. There's a particular engine design that they've used that needs extra cooling that's helped with the aerodynamic devices on the car. It's got all the usual things like optional ceramic brakes, but being a Mercedes-Benz type product, it's also got all the usual safety stuff. So it's got pre-safe, the collision warning system. It's got reversing cameras and lane departure warnings and all those things you'd expect from a Mercedes-Benz car. It's been kind of shown to the world's media. It's only being launched in the UK in April next year. That's the first model, and the GT will follow in August 2015. So a while before we see it on the roads.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
And to give you an idea size-wise of what it's like, it's a little bit smaller than the SL, the Mercedes-Benz SL, and bigger than the SLK. Because if you see pictures of it, it actually looks very compact.
It does.
But it's 4.5 meters long.
So it's very long.
Which is a big car.
It's a big car.
So it's kind of between the SL and the SLK.
Nice.
But I like the look of that thing. I really do. It's got some very definite SLS kind of markers on it, but I think it is a very pretty car.
Yes.
And if anything, it should sound phenomenal. Because that's the one thing that Mercedes-Benz do know how to do is a V8 motor that sounds great.
It's got that big rumble. Very big rumble.
So a while before we see it on the roads, pricing obviously will only be established later on, but that is the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT.
Very interesting. Good luck with that one. I like that quite a bit. Now we go from something huge to something relatively small. And that is the BMW 2 Series. Correct.
Convertible. 2 Series has been around for a while now. Now
Yes.
they've just chopped off the roof. So here's an interesting fact that I'm sure you probably know already, being the intelligent guy that you are. Did you know that the car that this replaces, it's the successor to the BMW 1 Series convertible, which we're all quite familiar with?
Yes.
Do you know it was the most popular open-top premium car in its class?
That I didn't know.
They sold 130,000 of them.
Really?
So now the 2 Series convertible replaces the 1 Series convertible, and what you have is the recipe they've followed is pretty similar to what we're familiar with. It's got a fabric top, electrically opening fabric top. It's got rollover bars that are concealed behind the head restraints, and the engine lineup will be pretty much similar to what we're used to as well. So 220i will be a 228i, and there will be an M235i powered by a 6-cylinder 240 kilowatt motor. And that is a sweet motor. No matter what car BMW puts it in, it comes across really, really well. Manual gearboxes, there's an 8-speed Steptronic transmission as well as an option. And uniquely in its segment, it is rear-wheel drive, so it should be at least a little bit of fun to drive.
Yes, you know what? I take my hat off to BMW for always sticking with the rear-wheel drive. It's very cool.
They are building front-wheel drive cars these days.
No, but it's still nice that you still can get a rear-wheel drive.
But I don't know. I think they might health and safety the crap out of that eventually and say, well, rear-wheel drive cars are inherently not as safe as front-wheel drive. There are pros and cons to both arguments, obviously.
Yes, of course.
But there's a reason why the majority of cars are front-wheel drive. So that car is scheduled to go on sale in South Africa first quarter of next year.
All right, nice.
They will confirm pricing, etc., closer to the time. In answer to Craig White's tweet, no, Mercedes-Benz is not trying to be like Porsche. Mercedes-Benz is Mercedes-Benz. Porsche is Porsche.
Yeah, no, I think what he's inferring to is that perhaps Mercedes-Benz reckon this car will come in at a price that maybe could challenge the likes of a Porsche.
But that's a great thing. That's a great. I mean, the more options you have at that price point, the better. Otherwise, you're stuck with can only have this or that. Now you can have this, that, or the other thing.
Exactly. More options. We like that. Okay, so that's the BMW. Now, here's a very interesting looking car. And I saw the first picture of this the other day when Fernando Alonso climbed out of this car.
Do you know why Fernando Alonso would be in? We're talking about the Jeep Renegade.
Yes, it's the Jeep Renegade. Well, I'll tell you, let me put my little thinking hat on.
Yes.
Well, yes. You see, Fiat bought Chrysler Jeep. Let's try and make Jeep a little bit more popular in Italy. So instead of him arriving in a Ferrari F12, let's put him in a Jeep Renegade.
Spot on.
Did I get it right?
There we go.
My goodness.
So
I should be in marketing. I'm so clever.
You missed your calling, man.
I have definitely.
So this is one of the first cars to be developed by the new Chrysler-owned Fiat. Well, sorry, the Chrysler-owned. The Fiat-owned Chrysler.
Yes.
So Fiat-owned Chrysler. This is one of the first cars they've developed under this arrangement. And the car that's doing the model that's doing all the kind of press rounds is the one of the. It's not all the cars look the same. This is a specific model that's doing the rounds.
Yes. The Jeep Renegade.
Yes, it is a very interesting looking car. I'm not so sure I'm mad about the back, but the front end is really, really nice.
Well, in a way, in a funny kind of way, it sort of reminds me of the Toyota FJ.
It is quite retro in that way. Yeah,
the sort of FJ Cruiser.
It's big and chunky as you'd expect from a Jeep.
Yeah.
And this is not a new car. If you're wondering why we're talking about it, it's been around. The photos have certainly been around for a while. The world reveal was at the Geneva Motor Show. It's been shown at the New York International Motor Show in April this year. But now this is they've revealed it finally to the press for the EMEA market, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Mm-hmm. So this is a kind of sign that the cars will be coming to these markets. It's the first Jeep in the compact SUV segment. It's kind of rugged and functional, if you like. The interior is quite nicely done. There are quite a few Fiat cues if you look at interior pictures of the car. The first thing I thought was, there's some controls from a Fiat 500L.
Excellent.
So there are some bits and pieces from Fiat, no doubt, but it is a very nice looking package, I think.
I must say, I'm very impressed with it.
Yeah.
I really like, the Jeep Wranglers and those things have been around forever. They've hardly ever changed shape. This, I think, is quite exciting, quite sexy.
Yeah, it's something different for Jeep. It's a new kind of direction. I really like what they've done as well. And I must be honest, I'm not a massive Jeep fan, but the one thing they do well is go off-road.
Yes.
They are very good off-road machines. And Jeep is saying that this thing is every bit as capable. It's got a full-time 4x4 system with a low-range function if you really want to go rock crawling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's got the Select Track system, which is the electronic system where you turn a dial and it sets the car up for different conditions. So it is designed to go off-road, and if it is a proper Jeep, it will go off-road. They are very, very capable machines. Interestingly, it's the first compact SUV with a 9-speed automatic transmission.
Oh, my.
Not quite sure what Range Rover will say because
they got the 8.
They got a 9-speed as well
9.
in their Evoque. And is the Evoque not a compact car of sorts of SUV kind of thing?
What the hell do you need 9 gears for?
Because 8 is not enough. You need another one.
What next? We're going to get a freaking Iveco truck, take the gearbox out of there and say, hey, I've got 16 gears times 4.
There we go.
There we go. Now let's play.
There.
ridiculous.
I don't get the whole 9-speed
Me
thing,
neither.
especially in off-road applications, because it's designed for efficiency and etc. etc. I don't know. It's on the open road they might work in a city environment to make things kind of smoother, where you don't feel as big a gap between the gears, and as I say, they're more efficient. But I don't know.
Anyway,
Nothing wrong with 6 speeds. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Especially on a manual gearbox.
So
That car, we're not quite sure what.
okay, so we don't have any plan yet for South Africa.
It is. The sales will start in the EMEA markets in the fourth quarter of this year. So
Okay.
it shouldn't be too long before we get the cars in South Africa. Just depends on what motors we've got. They've got an array of motors, 1.4 litre multi-air turbos from Fiat, 102 kilowatts. There's a 125 kilowatt version. There's two diesel versions, and there's even a 2.4 litre V6, 136 kilowatt motor. So they haven't
Petrol.
confirmed. Yeah, petrol.
Okay.
They haven't confirmed which ones, and obviously depending on what configurations you take, there will be a choice of gearboxes. There will be a choice of 2 or 4-wheel drive. So we don't quite know what the lineup will be, but I'm pretty sure those are coming to South Africa. And if sales start internationally at the end of this year, shouldn't be too long before we see them here either.
Yeah, I must say, looking forward to driving one. Looking forward to driving one, because I've been one of those with Jeep. As you say, great to go off road, but this one looks as though it might actually be quite enjoyable on normal roads.
Yeah, and I think it's, as you say, it's tapped into that whole FJ thing of look tough and look a bit different, and I think it'll gain a lot of popularity from that.
The world of cars with Spike the Car Guy.
Gears on balls.co.za. Weekdays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.